I'm holding the camera in my hand. Uh, Dibble Craftian ordered me a replacement tripod. So once that comes, I'll be back to square one. So we'll just have to struggle through. There's so much going on in the world. Uh, I just got done. I just got done with my prayer time. Praying for my YouTube family, praying for Watchman River family, especially for Tom, who is battling Lyme disease, and that's keeping him from being able to shake off this cold that he's had off and on for several weeks. He's an important soldier in the army of God, so we need to pray for him. And please keep me in prayer. I've been dealing with otitis media in my left ear, and it gives me a burning, scratchy, itchy left ear. And it's one of those things where you can't keep putting hydrogen peroxide in it because the peroxide will kill anything, but by the same token, it can cause a delicate tissue in the ear to break down and end up causing more problems than it solves. So I thank you all for sending me the homeopathic eardrops. So one of my medicine alarms just went off. I'm going to have to ignore it. So if you hear it in the background making its blum blum noise, it's telling me to check my blood pressure again, but it should be fine for a few more minutes. But in any case, there's so much going on. The town of Bakhmut in the yellow and blue country got fire bombed. That is that's a horrible thing to do to a population. For one thing, it's not going after a military target. It's going after the population. These are people, simple people who just want to live their lives, elderly people, people with children. And when they spread that fire over a whole area, and the pictures are horrific. The pictures are horrific. For one thing, even if somebody is in a shelter, the fire burns away the oxygen. And so the people smother. And then they get charcoal fried, and it's a very slow, horrifically scary way to go, because even if they do go into a shelter, when they finally pop their heads out, there's no place to go because everything around is burnt to a crisp, that's not still burning. It's just a horrible thing to do to another human being. And see, the thing with the bear country is Mother Bear knows where all of the tunnels that these people are hiding in are. They know all of the infrastructure because the two countries are essentially having a civil war. The people from the yellow and blue country have relatives in the bear country and vice versa. It's a civil matter. But in any case, this blasted alarm is driving me crazy. But in any case, it's something that shouldn't happen. It's something that shouldn't be happening to a civilian population because they don't have any way of retaliating. So they're not a threat. So to take these people out is just morally wrong. Can you imagine being Vladimir P. and you look into his eyes and they're dead like a shark, and he doesn't care that millions of people are going to be suffering and are going to lose their lives. He doesn't care about all of the artwork in this beautiful cities that he's destroyed. He's become the devil incarnate. He's become the destroyer. And the thing is the reason he's going scorched earth is they say he has cancer, so he knows his time is short, just like the devil knows his time is short. And there are people that want to wipe him out to stop the WAR. And then the other side of the military wants to wipe him out so they can ramp the WAR up. And so the bear country is moving ships out of the area. They're moving troops out of the area. And that's not because they're retreating. What they're probably going to do is NUKE certain parts of the yellow and blue country in order to get it across that they mean business. Now, I believe personally that the next country that is in danger is the United Kingdom. The reason being is the United Kingdom has given Ukraine armaments, and the bear country warned them not to get involved. The United Kingdom is essentially an island. They have cables that can be cut, and if they were NUKED'd, the radiation wouldn't blow back into Mother Bear Country significantly to cause them a problem. Plus, the United Kingdom, I think they might have a little bit of gold on hand, but I don't think they're any significant source of oil or anything else like that that would be missed, if Vladimir dropped an egg on them. I'm just saying that tactically, they're probably going to get it long before the Iron Eagle, gets it. The Iron Eagle being us. But I'm wondering if there's not a fifth column operating in America already with all of these train derailments and all of these, things overturning and dumping poison into our water and poisoning our air. It's like almost every other day this stuff is happening. And they said one train derailed because of a bearing in the wheel that got hot. I mean, I used to run a shop. It would be nothing to walk up to a train and take a can of brake clean and wash all of the grease off of a bearing so that when the train started moving again, that the bearing would overheat and throw the train off the track. That kind of stuff is just, common knowledge to anybody with a mechanical background. It's the same thing like the saboteurs used to do to Germany during WW2. They would take a coin and they would put it in the valve of a train so that the pressure would go too high or that the oiling system on the train would fail. And then the Germans would stop the train and inspect it, and they would find the coin, and they would go back and just wipe out everybody that was around the train or had a responsibility to maintain the train. You know, people gave up their lives to slow the advance of evil. Many people, good people, gave up their lives. And that's the kind of world that we're moving into now. So you got the town of Bakhmut, Bakhmut. So they got fire, BOMBED, and the images are horrific. So there's not going to be anybody going to be able to survive that. Hey, Lilypod, good to see you. There's not going to be anybody going to be able to survive that. Because like I said, even if you pop your head out of the ground, the fire's eating up all the oxygen and there's no place to go. Speaking of that, we have a refinery fire going on in Houston. So gasoline in the East Coast of America is probably going to be very scarce soon. Then you have the earthquake in Japan. Was a pretty good rumbler in Japan, and buildings collapsed in Japan. So you got to keep them in prayer. All over the world, there's stuff going on. There's the WAR in Sudan. There's flooding going on. All of this stuff is biblical. It's biblical. It makes me sad when I watch Canadian Prepper because Nate is such an articulate, smart young man. And it's like he teases God because he says that he uses the term biblical in his own description of what's going on. But he's either an atheist or an agnostic. You know, he's one of those, you know, that he feels that the Bible isn't scientific. The Bible is very scientific. It talked about social distancing when you're sick centuries ago. It talked about washing your hands in running water so that you don't take the germs back up onto your hands. It talked about covering your face if you're sick so that you don't transmit your illness to other people. I mean, the Bible is very scientific. Hey, Wilma. It's very scientific, and it's right on the money. One example where the odds were against the Bible was the city of Tyre. Tyre was attacked by an enemy. And I'll just give you a quick synopsis of what happened. They were attacked by an enemy. The Bible said that they would be wiped out, even to the stones on the earth, right down to the dirt. So when Tyre was attacked, and they survived somewhat, and the city was destroyed, but not all the way to the dirt. People were like, oh, see, the Bible isn't true. But what happened was the people of Tyre decided to rebuild their city on an island offshore. And that way they could, you know, thumb their nose to their enemy, say, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, you can't get us now. So what their enemy did was they took the stones and the rubble from the old city of Tyre and they threw it out into the water, and they built a causeway, and they marched out to the new city of Tyre and wiped it out. And it was just like the Bible said, not even the stones on the ground survived. The city was wiped out right down to the dirt of the earth. Can you imagine the odds of that being true, of that coming true? It's just it's phenomenal, you know, the odds of that happening exactly like the Bible said, but it did. And see, the veracity of the Bible is due to fulfilled prophecy. All this is coming true. The Euphrates River drying up. Nobody in 1,000 years would think that the Euphrates River would dry up, but the Bible says it was going to. And it says the kings of the east are going to march their troops down the Euphrates riverbed. And all of this stuff is happening in our time. We live in a very exciting time. But I'm just saying good morning, you know, for right now. I will be praying for everybody. I'll be going from bed to wheelchair, and praying for everybody. So I'm not going to be very active on the channel today. Again, I want to thank those of you that went to my Amazon link and helped me out. Dibble Craftian, you know, has ordered me a new tripod. So in the next day or two, when that comes, I'll be back to square one, being able to do, you know, better videos. Terry Hatcher, I mean, just everybody who has helped me with my, you know, old people disposables and all that other stuff that you have to have when you're older than God. But keep people in prayer, people who are trying to bring the truth out. Elon Musk has put himself into the path of the elites. Tucker Carlson, people like that need prayer, because these people that go after people who want to put the truth out there, they're vile, evil people, and they will stop at nothing. So people who try and put the truth out there, you know, myself included, really become targets of the enemy, of the devil, because there aren't that many prayer warriors left. I mean, with regard to the population at hand. There are people that pray little Band-Aid, now I lay me down to sleep prayers. But when it comes to fasting and praying for days on end for an outcome, there aren't that many of us. I prayed for a year and a half for Benjamin Netanyahu, for the truth about his situation to come out and for him to be restored to a government that very much needs him. He was set up. Somebody gave him a gift of champagne and cigars, and then they turned around and ratted him out as saying that he was crooked for accepting the gift. You have to be very careful nowadays, like that Supreme Court judge. I'm not going to say his name, but he was supposedly a very honorable man. And Barry O, number 44, said that he was going to do what's called a red wedding. And that's where you lock all of you invite your enemies to a wedding, then you lock your enemies in the room and get rid of them. And essentially that's what happened to this judge, was Barry O gave him a invitation down to a boys ranch. So you have a grown man going down to this ranch with teenage tenderoni boys, and the man wound up with a pillow over his face, you know, and they bumped him off during the night, Presumably he got with a boy and the boy put a pillow over his face during the night. They never did an autopsy on the man. It was hush hush, covered up real quick, you know, that type of deal. But it was his foolishness for accepting the invitation from Bathhouse Barry in the first place. So any of you think that our government or any of that is on the up and up, I'm sorry to tell you that we are in a single party government at this point. I myself don't even plan to vote in 2024 if I'm still around. And the reason being is if you vote and somebody doesn't like the way you vote, all you got to do is get yourself put on a list, on a watch list. That's where we are in this country. Our Justice Department has been weaponized. Everybody knows it. The mainstream media is, if you click from channel to channel, they all aren't reporting. They're being a proxy for the elites and the industrial complex, But in any case, even if 45 got reelected, I doubt if we could put Humpty Dumpty back together again, because my beloved nation of America, it seems, has already suffered death by 1,000 cuts. And now on May 11th, you're going to have this huge influx of people coming into this country unvetted. You don't know where they're coming from. I saw some this morning coming into the country, and they were in striped prison outfits. So these other countries are doing what Haiti did when Jimmy Carter was president. They're emptying their asylums and prisons and all of that other stuff into our country. And if you defend yourself, you wind up going to jail. The one guy who snuffed out that 9-year-old little boy and his family, that guy had been deported 4 times and came back into the country and snuffed out this other family because he was playing with his rifle out in front of his house, and the other people nicely asked him to stop. And he turned around and wiped out the family, including a little 9-year-old boy. So fam, I'm going to be in prayer today. Remember, I love you. I care about you. The good Lord loves you more because he has that capacity. So hang in there. Keep prayed up. Keep prepped up. Be kind to each other. Call each other on the phone. Give each other a hug, because we don't know from one day to the other how things are going to turn out. Poppy pops out.